Okay, hello everyone. Here's your 2013 Infinity G37x. We finished the transmission fluid, and that's what we used, AMSOIL, the blue bottle. And earlier we had used the red bottle on the transfer case. And we used the Severe Gear 75 by 90 on the front differential and rear differential. We had a little bit of one of the bottles left over and a little bit of the red one. The blue bottles, we used all 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. We went ahead and used all 10. It took exactly 10 to fill it. And I think that's the most important thing y'all need to know. This thing is going to be up for sale. So the purpose of the video is to document the work, but also for whoever's buying it to have proof of what was done. So 79,000 original miles on the car, a 2-owner vehicle, recently repainted. Sounds beautiful. The little bit of water condensation drip was from the car that was parked there before with the AC on, not anything dripping from this car. This car has the splash cover underneath, so you wouldn't see anything dripping like that from it. Even if it did, it would drip on the cover. But yeah, it was painted. You won't find a flaw in the paint job. My boy Santana, shout out to him and Apopka. He did really good work on it. I'm gonna record the VIN number of the car just so people on the internet can say that was a different Infinity. So just so we know we're talking about the same Infinity. The VIN number ends in 1640 on this model. 12 of 12, meaning it was born in December of 2012. That's his birthday. Making it a 2013 with, let me get this on the camera, with 79,623 miles to be exact at the time that the service was done. So I would normally drive this, but I'm gonna let my brother here from another mother, Ams, get in it and drive it and let him give me his unbiased opinion about how it shifts with all the new fluids in it. I need to grab a rag to wipe down fingerprints when we get to this guy's house. I had a yellow rag somewhere around here. All right, so Tango, the guard dog, is gonna stay here holding down the fort. And we're gonna go down the street and let Ams tell us what he thinks about this bad boy. Bring those nuts with us because I'm feeling hungry. I love these luxury cars. When you open the door, it lights up and says Infinity G37. Super cool. I'm gonna show you the back. I didn't want to put the license plate out there, but this is a G37X model. So Ams is right now being bothered by this little scanner. I wanted to show y'all what's on the scanner. We're looking at 214 degrees. Temperature is about what this engine likes to run at. RPM sitting at rest are in the 650 to 670. And everything else is looking good. This is a Navi model, and this is Am's first experience
in this particular
car. Now, he's very well experienced in Infinities. He's actually an Infinity fan, and that's why I want his opinion, because he is quite the Infinity expert, y'all. So
I've had a couple of them. Let's see here. So which way do you want me to
go? We're gonna go down yonder this way. Okay. We're gonna run down the T-Mobile. Watch the driveway. Okay, we cleared it. This does have the backup camera. Yeah, there you go. Easy. We just put fresh fluid in it. We don't want to be too aggressive. We want to.
I can feel it.
Be nice. Oh yeah, you tap it and it's gone.
Oh yeah.
It's gone. This is very responsive. We're just gonna be easy for the first few miles, and then you can drive it normal.
I love the weight of this car.
Oh yeah. So the good thing about this is, guys, is this is obviously fully loaded Navi. Heated seats. I don't know how well y'all can see that. It's kind of dark in here, but heated seats. It's all the bells and whistles. Sunroof model, you name it. When this was bought in 2013, brand new, 0 miles, whoever bought it with every option available. When I say fully loaded, I mean this thing is fully loaded. Anyways, I'm going to talk to y'all a little bit about what I'm so impressed with in this car. I have experienced G37s before, coupes and sedans. I have never experienced an X model. I confess, this is my first X model. Every other G37 I've experienced is 100% rear-wheel drive models only. This model, on the other hand, I've been thoroughly impressed by what I thought was like one of those electronic all-wheel drive systems where it's like 30% traction to the front and 70 to the rear, and the computer-controlled crap. So this is actually a legitimate all-wheel drive system. It has a transfer case, a real transfer case. It has a front differential with its own independent drive shaft going from the transfer case on the back of the transmission all the way to the front differential. And yes, it has obviously a drive shaft coming out of the back of the transfer case going to the rear diff. So yeah, it's a real all-wheel drive system, very similar to what you would have on a four-wheel drive truck. You won't see like the four-wheel drive low and all that other stuff like you would see on a four-wheel drive truck, but other than that, it's pretty much as close as you get to a pickup truck four-wheel drive system. So when I tell you that you could hit this thing and it's like if it's clawed into the pavement, it just grabs and goes. This thing just grabs and goes. There's no wheel spin. You're not going to get these things to spin wheel unless you're playing around on the ice or snow. We're going to be going left at the light up here, Ams.
All right. Notice the road noise is not that bad.
No, this is a pretty quiet luxury cabin. Yeah, I'm thoroughly impressed with this car in many different features, the luxury and everything. Ams a little like dab of the tongue of the power in this thing also when he put it in drive to go. He's been y'all gotta forgive him. He's been driving temporarily a Nissan Altima while his Jaguar is getting worked on, and he's used to the supercharged Jaguar, but right now he's driving a 4-cylinder Altima until the Jaguar's done. So he buries his foot into that heavy and it barely moves. True. And this thing, he just rests his foot ever so gently on it and it wants to dart out from under him. So he experienced that as we were taking off. I told him to be easy on it just because that's it's fresh glue and gasket and everything on that transmission pan, and we want to be a little gentle for the first couple miles. But this is pretty much to document that the car is back on the road. I let this car run in the driveway for quite a while before I even left, just to see if it would spot anything. How you fill this thing, when you fill it, you want the car to be up level on all four wheels. And when I mean level, I use an actual level to make sure that the back tires are level with the front tires up in the air. And it has a drain bolt on the pan, and then it obviously has a fill bolt. For those that didn't watch part 1 and part 2 videos, you can go back and watch those. I filled it with a pan pump and a special fitting. It was a 1/4 inch to a 3/8 barb plastic fitting on the end of manual fluid pump, and I pumped it up. It took about 5.5 quarts bone dry after having dropped the pan, and then at that point I felt it was getting full. You'll feel it in the pump as you're pumping it, resistance. So then I plugged it back up and then I started the car. I let the car come up to about 180 degrees Fahrenheit temperature. I checked that with an infrared thermometer gun. And then at that temperature, I went ahead, again, the car being up and leveled, and released that fill plug again and seen if anything would drain out, and nothing did. While that was happening, I was in the car shifting through all the gears with the car up in the air and whatnot. So that torque converter opened up, all the discs and everything engaged, and the fluid sucked down. So at that point, then I went back under with the car still running and popped the screw open again, and nothing was coming out. So I knew I needed more fluid. So then I proceeded to install the other 5.5 quarts of fluid I had, and it took all 5.5. And then I wanted to make sure that it didn't need more. So I ran it through all the gears again, and then I popped the bowl open, and then some trickled out, so I knew it was still full. Closed it back up without losing any fluid, more fluid than what was needed, and I knew the system was full. At that point, it was just put the rest of the plastic covers underneath and make sure that nothing's leaking. Then I put it back, obviously, in the driveway, took it for a short drive, put it back in the driveway, came back, double checked, nothing was leaking again. So I've double checked twice that nothing is leaking. At this point, Ams was on his way, and I know he's a big Infinity fan, and I wanted somebody else's opinion on how smooth and how good the transmission feels. So I'm gonna shut up now because I've rambled too much in this video, and I'm gonna let Ams take over and talk a little bit.
Well, to be honest with you, like I said before, I've owned a few of them, and this actually is so impressive. It's very responsive. There's no lag between shifts, you know, and acceleration and stuff like that.
Straight, but in the left lane. Sorry.
Okay. It picks right up. You know, like if you've driven like my son's Genesis, he has a 3.8 Lambda, and there's always a little bit of a lag there, and then it takes off. This is immediate, and it handles like it's on rails. And I've had a few BMWs, and this handles just as well, if not better, than those did.
I'll make a U-turn at the light.
So I'm really impressed by this vehicle. I think you did an exceptional job. I don't know what it was before, but whatever it is now, it's impeccable. I would buy it. I really would.
Well, he says he doesn't know what I did. I did the full tune-up on the engine. I mean, spark plugs, coils, valve cover gaskets, intake gasket set, anything you would want to do to a vehicle with 79,000 miles. The owner, solid friend of mine, retired veteran, U.S. Navy, just very disciplined, organized guy, and godly man. He's used the car for nothing but good. It's his work vehicle, and he's been meticulous with the maintenance. He's brought it to me. He spared no expense. Just recently on what we did, last time we did the engine tune-up, this time we did the drivetrain tune-up. So there's really nothing you need to do to this car. It's got a brand new set of tires. It just had a paint job less than a month ago. You know, as a mechanic, if I wanted to tell him you need something else, the only thing I could tell him is take it through a car wash somewhere, because like the car needs nothing else. You don't need wipers, you don't need a cabin air filter, you don't need brakes, you don't need tires, you don't need any fluids anywhere on the car. I mean, every fluid on the car has been replaced and upgraded to AMSOIL fluids. So I'll end in saying AMSOIL fluids, as just because it has AMSOIL in it, if any of those components were to fail, the transfer case, the front differential, the rear differential, the automatic transmission, the engine, you name it, any of those fail, AMSOIL will write you a check for a new one. Not a junkyard used component to replace that, a brand new component at the shop of your choice. No other fluid stands behind their reputation that way, and warranties their product the way AMSOIL does. So it's like it has an extended warranty, not through the factory anymore, but through AMSOIL. And when I tell you he spent quite a bit of money on AMSOIL, just this time on the drivetrain alone, it was like $250 just in fluid. Wow. So, and that's just a couple bottles of fluid that I just showed you at the beginning of the video. That doesn't include anything he did for the engine, the coolant, the brake fluid, everything else. You'll make a U-turn here.
Now, I would like to clarify something. When I say I didn't know what you did, I'm talking about in comparison to where it was.
And here you could hit it a little bit to feel the response.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
There's no lag whatsoever. It's immediate. That's actually a little bit better. I would say it's maybe on par, if not a little bit better than my Jag.
You're gonna go into this plaza right here. There's a T-Mobile. If you see it coming up just right here, right before the light on the right here.
Yeah, that's really impressive.
And there's, I don't know if they're still open or not.
Closed.
Are they?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they're closed. Okay, well, you can come out that way and then make a U-turn and come back to this light and make a right and head down. And at this point, I'm gonna ask you not to be mean to it, but to drive it like a little more sporty, because at this point I want to get the transmission nice and warm, and by the time we get back to the house, do the last third check for any spot leaks.
All right, sounds good.
So like he said, the man is used to driving very fast, supercharged vehicles. Him, his son, I mean, they've all owned quality premium sports coupes and sports sedans. And you know, if you're gonna get an opinion from anybody that's well versed and has been behind the wheel of quality vehicles, I know Ams is a guy I can get an unbiased, honest opinion from, and is somebody qualified to even speak on the subject. I don't easily get impressed by cars, and Ams will tell you I am not a Nissan fan.
But that's why I was really surprised, to be honest with you, when you were praising this car. I was like, I wanted to know how much they were paying you because you, every time I said, hey, Infinity, you're like, no. But now, I mean, you got to see this car. You got to see it. It's incredible.
Yeah, I am not a Nissan fan. Everybody that knows me will tell you that. And I just don't, I'm not a fan of the Nissan automatic transmissions. Nissan is also known for electrical gremlins in the engines, knock sensors, bad coils, things of that nature. This is the only engine Nissan's ever made that I've respected. The 3.7. This thing is pretty much the same engine, pretty identical to the engine in a Skyline GTR. It's a really stout performer. And like I said, if you do meticulous maintenance on this, they are good cars. I always say to people, there's no such thing as bad cars, only bad owners. And this car has definitely not had a bad owner. Elliot got this thing with 30,000 miles on it. It's at 79, so he's put roughly just about 50,000 miles in the time that he's owned it. You can get around all these guys. And he has been, most people don't do the amount of maintenance he's done for a car they've only owned for 50,000 miles, and a car that's really only got 79 on it. People who really don't start doing this type of maintenance until after 100,000 miles. And by then they frown on having to do it and sell it just to not have to do it. Elliot is the kind of guy to do it before it reaches 100,000 miles and do it just because he's going to sell it, and he wants to make sure he's going to sell something that he can have a clean conscience on. And I am flattered at the opportunity that he's chosen me to do the work. I've done it as if, like the Bible says, do it as if you're doing it unto the Lord. As much love and respect I have for Elliot, I laid hands on this as if I was doing it for God, not for him. And every nut and bolt was loved on, grease, lubricated properly, torqued to the proper spec. You know, everything was done diligently, so to say. And this car is extremely reliable for whoever's in the market. I'm not going to talk prices. If you're interested, just drop a message, reach out. You do your research on what a 2013 Infinity G37 coupe with only 79,000 miles on it. Go ahead and round the mileage up to 80,000 just for the fact that, I mean, it is at 79,628 now, but he's driving it. So it's not like it's something that's parked waiting for you to come test drive. This is being used daily. So go ahead and just round up the mileage to a solid 80K 2013 Infinity G37X model. Make sure you put the X, and it is a premium model. So when you go on Kelley Blue Book and it asks you what features it has, you're pretty much clicking on every feature that the car came with, because this is that loaded. So go ahead and do the research. Do your diligent research on seeing what the car is worth in the marketplace, and make a respectable offer. And we're willing to entertain any and all respectable offers. To not bore y'all blabbermouthing too much, as I can do very easily, we're gonna end the video. I'm gonna see if Ams has any final words he has to say here in closing.
Get this car. I love this car. Yeah. And besides, I trust your work. You've worked on a number of cars for me, and also some of my friends, you know, so, and there's never been a complaint. You've always been, you know, honest. You've always been fair, you know, and I appreciate that. So any work that you've done to this, I'm quite sure Elliot's going to definitely appreciate, and whoever buys this car is going to definitely be getting a heck of a car.
It means a lot coming from this guy, so y'all know that I appreciate that, Ams. I appreciate it. Looking forward to bless somebody. Looking forward to this car to be a blessing to whoever its next owner is, the way it's been a blessing to Elliot. We're gonna enjoy this last little test drive here. And oh, I love these Infinity clocks too, the way they light up. That's a real nice touch in these things. Anyways, you guys, we're gonna end the video with one more little blip of the gas from Ams from here to that green light. Go ahead, Ams.
Ooh, immediate response.
It's a beautiful thing, y'all. Somebody's gonna be blessed. Somebody's gonna be blessed. Drop us a message, and be careful with assholes like that. Drop us a message, and we look forward to talking to you about making this thing yours. God bless y'all. Bye bye.